Well, hey, everybody, it's the Week in the Tackle podcast. Week in the Tackle predicts the weekend. I'm Tom Rennie, tackling this weekend. Alongside me, showing his tackle, is Mr. Brian Dunny Liberace Dunseth. How are you, mate? You all right?
I'm good. I thought I tucked the tackle away. I didn't know that we were allowed to show the tackle, but let's tackle it.
Yes, that was a classic translation issue. When I said, wear shorts, you've worn boxers, what I meant was British shorts, which cover the knees. But it's your age. What you going to do?
Hammock, yeah.
So this program, Tuesday is the big show, the Week in the Tackle podcast. But on Friday, we've just done our Sirius XMFC show in the USA. That's always so hard to say.
The seashore.
She sells seashells down by the seashore.
Phenomenal.
Picks a peck of pickled peppers that Peter Piper picked. Erling Haaland is phenomenal. Oh, I got it wrong.
Oh, you did. You did so well the other day on the broadcast.
I made up the word, didn't get it wrong one time, and now I try to show off to our podcast audience.
Shawshank.
And I've
Chicago.
So listen, he sends one of yours to the hospital. You send one of theirs to the morgue.
It's the Chicago way.
I must ask you a question, but I'm shaving it for later.
Punch the keys, damn it.
All of that was terrible. So the Friday show, we do one definite thing that's going to happen at the weekend. That's a banker. And one thing that's not going to go right for someone this weekend, that is a shanker. And we also get an update on what Danny's doing in the world of MLS as well. So that is all to come. So look, we're looking ahead to this weekend. If you're in the USA on Sirius XMFC, a game in each unique time slot from the Premier League with Premier League Live. I noticed we're top 50 in Australia this week.
Are we?
Which is exciting news. So we should say, good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Our friends in Australia. And also, sorry about that, our friends in Australia. So, Donny, this weekend, it hasn't got to be Premier League as well. You can do anything you want. We're not just tied to the Premier League here. We do a lot of it because it's the most successful league in the world and we are, English speakers, but anything. So, Donny, what's your banker this weekend? What would you tell our listening thousands is definitely going to happen this weekend and why?
Well, because the gorgeous mane of Erling Haaland was unfurled the other day against Arsenal Football Club in that I'm going to stuff it up your shorts kind of way and smash a ball past Aaron Ramsdale to his right-hand side with the preferred left foot. I'm going to continue the trend. I'm going to say Erling Haaland scores another goal, and it is a comfortable 3-1 rout at Fulham in Craven Cottage.
You know what I liked about the Erling Haaland goal? I mean, there's lots to like about it, right? But I kept thinking about like 80s comedy movies where it's like, I can't think of like my best friend is like a tomboy and I've been trying to get with the prom queen all year. Yeah. And it turns out prom queen, there was no way of knowing this. She's a so it wasn't, is that, yeah.
I think that's Tim. Can't Buy Me Love. I think that's
sorry,
Can't,
Tim?
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Tim. So, but there's, I mean, it's constant, right? It's a trope. It's a cliche of kind of like, teen high school dramas that the world is raised on, what American teens do. And then it's like, Joey, no, she's my neighbor. We've been friends for years. There's no way what? And she walks in and it's like, bow, chicka, bow, 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 bow.
She's not in the overalls. Yeah, she's not mowing the lawn in overalls next door anymore.
Overalls off, glasses come off, and then she does the Erling Haaland. I had the time of my life. And like that's what I kept thinking of. Like sexy teen Haaland is basically what I thought. It's like that's the tomboy next door. A lot of young men fell in love on Wednesday, is what I'm saying. What were we doing now? I forget. I'm just fantasizing about Erling Haaland again, drinking a pint of milk.
Put your tackle away.
That's it. I'll buy a jug off you anytime, Erling. And also there was the pictures of him in his pants with Noel Gallagher in the dressing room as well.
No, that was his undies, his banana hammock. He was taking pictures with the lead singer of Oasis in his tidy-whitey banana hammocks and just flexing quads all over the place. Like I wasn't staring at the junk. I was staring at the quads.
Were you? I was staring at the junk.
Okay.
No, and he said, Noel Gallagher was on TalkSport and he said that Haaland was like prowling around the dressing room in his tighty-whities, livid that he hadn't scored a hat-trick.
Could have Aaron Ramsdale.
So that's your banker. What's my banker this weekend? Well, obviously a banker to be aroused by Erling Haaland, but what else have we got? Oh, look, my banker this weekend of the things that are going to happen is that, can I go to Tuesday? Am I allowed to go to Tuesday being it's this weekend?
Yeah.
Chelsea Chelsea have gone a little bit under the radar in the last couple of weeks. Why? Because they had a week off and we stopped talking about them so much. We were doing Chelsea constantly, and then Chelsea had last week off. Then they got to the weekend and lost again against Brentford, or midweek against Brentford. But they basically had the FA Cup weekend off. And so we had like almost 10 days of no Lampard baiting. And I was reading a couple of forums this week, and one of them I really loved. It was all about Frank Lampard on the Chelsea forum. I lurk on the Chelsea forums. It's a great way, by the way, if you're doing a team and you want to find out what the fan base is thinking, and they're not just the nutters on like main Twitter. It's quite a good place to find out the vibe. And my favorite fan was, Frank, I love you, but please go back to being a pundit. Coaching isn't for you. Which I thought was an excellent analysis of old Frankie Lampard.
Has he done a ton of punditry?
Yeah, he was doing a bit of punditry. Yeah, there was a famous one. Him and Steven Gerrard were chipping balls into a wheelie bin on BT Sport at one point a few years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, like really breaking down games and utilizing his knowledge as like a proper pundit. I don't.
Not really. No,
yeah.
not really. But he's done a few bits where he's turned up and really pushed the boundaries of how many buttons you can have undone on a live national broadcast. 3 seems too much. Should we see navel? I don't know if we should see navel. Yeah. Anyway.
Not a lot of trust there.
So there's a really interesting article I read on Football 365 this week about could Chelsea really go down? Now, look, they're not going to. It's a bit of a clickbait fun piece. But 39 points currently, if they hadn't got one extra win this year, they may well have got relegated. And they've written this really long piece of, here's the really intricate scenario of results that could see Chelsea relegated. So they're not going to. They've got like an infinitesimal statistical chance of going. But they take on Arsenal on Tuesday. Now, Arsenal are obviously grieving the loss of the Premier League title. They're not going to be winning. Man City will be top by the time we get to that game, which will be heartbreaking, I'm sure, for those Arsenal fans, unless Fulham do something special on the Sunday, which you've already guaranteed the listeners is not going to happen. But this is the worst Chelsea to maybe go to Arsenal in years. I think Arsenal are going to be just so ready to get back on the horse. I think they go on a winning run now, get over 90 points, and it's going to be a really impressive end to this season. They're not going to catch the Sovereign Wealth Fund. But I actually think this is going to be Frank Lampard's last game in charge. I think the Pochettino thing we hear is down the road. I think that might be confirmed by the end of this weekend. I think, to your point on Tuesday's podcast, get your effing guy. That was about Tottenham. Yeah. But Chelsea need to get their guy because that is looking less attractive by the week. Frank Lampard has been an embarrassment. The teams he selected, I mean, against Brentford, his front three was N'Golo Conte. Like, are you fucking stupid? Sorry, Tim, but I mean, I looked at it and I was just like,
yeah,
what? It was like a admission of idiocy. It was like when I try and like thread a needle or something to do a bit of sewing. And after half an hour of stabbing myself in a finger, I got to my wife, please do this basic thing for me. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And then she has to like, put my pants back together again because of all the holes I put in them. And that's English pants, not American pants. My Haaland whiteys.
I thought they already had a hole in it. Yeah.
So yes, yeah, but then it's the wrong side.
Yeah.
So look, I think that Arsenal wallop them. Lampard's last game in charge. Pochettino is going to be installed by next week. Big victory. If you're a gambling type, plus 3.5. Asian handicap territory. That's our banker. What about a shanker? Who's going to utterly shank it this weekend?
Yeah, I'll stick with Chelsea, but I'll go in the opposite direction. I think they're going to shank it because there's no indication that anything is going to change in this opportunity. And remember, there used to be a pissing contest between Frank Lampard and Mikel Arteta. There used to be fist pumps at the Emirates after a result went Chelsea's way. And now there's no indication of any type. We did this narrative. We talked about Tottenham in the second half against Manchester United. They still have the ability to turn it on. I think Chelsea players have shanked this. As much as we want to put it on Bowley, as much as we want to put it on Timmy Tickles and that terrible hat he wears, as much as we want to put it on Graham Potter, as much as we want to put it on Frank Lampard, I think it's on the players as well. So shanking it this weekend. I got Arsenal 2-1 winners over Chelsea. I don't even know why I gave Chelsea a goal. They've scored one goal in like the last year.
Why'd you do that?
Weird.
That was weird. That was weird. We don't prepare that much for this particular show. And we did a 3-hour show before this where there was lots of notes provided for us.
Some of us got to go get a haircut. Yeah, let's go.
A what?
A haircut.
Sounds like a waste of money. Just go bald, mate. It's easy. Now, I was going to do a bit of Crystal Palace West Ham here because, as you know, I'm in a mental pretzel
God.
about it because Crystal Palace,
Mental pretzel.
the embodiment of 12th. I've got 37 points, and so we'll probably be safe. West Ham just need one more win from the remaining games, and I think 37 will be enough to keep them clear of any team that are down there. They've actually been pretty good, so my gut tells me West Ham are going to win, and it's over. But I've been let down so many times in so many ways. I can't pick it, so I'm going to pick Everton as my shanker because I actually thought Sean Dyche coming in, beep test and corners was going to be a good thing. But I think these players are a bit like, what are we doing? And you see it with the results that there's no really defined style of play apart from like getting them pumped. Like the plan seems to be don't concede and get them pumped. Get fit, get sharp, work hard. We'll get something from this game if we believe enough. I don't think they believe in Dyche. I don't think this group believe in him. I think even the Al Burnley boys who combined for the win against Arsenal all those weeks ago, they left Burnley for a reason. They stopped believing in the Dyche Master General. And I think the game against Leicester, I know you haven't got the belief. And in fact, on my constantly updated who's going to go down thing, which has been broadly right so far, beyond the fact I overestimated Leeds and underestimated Forest, everyone else has been pretty spot on. I still think Leicester might be able to do it, mainly because they can score goals. In the end, it's scoring goals that I think gets you over the line. Everton cannot score them. Leicester can. I think Everton, having been walloped by Newcastle in midweek, could happen to anyone. It's happened to a lot of teams. And they go to Leicester and shank it. I think Leicester win big and move up the table and leaving Everton, depending on results, stranded with 4 games to go, tough fixtures to come, and only corners as their defence. So my shanker is going to be Dyche's Toffees. We'll see. The full Week in the Tackle podcast is available for you on Tuesday. Subscribe right now on all your podcast platforms. You can also watch the show in full on YouTube. If you follow Week in the Tackle on Twitter, you get videos of the program. You can also follow Thomas J. Rennie on Twitter, Brian Dunseth on the old gram with the teenagers. And Dunny, you're going to be on the telly box this weekend on the Apple. Where can people see you?
Chicago Fire against New York Red Bulls. It'll be a fun one. Big battle in the Eastern Conference. Both teams in dire need of 3 points to stay within touching distance of that playoff spot.
And if you're listening in the USA, in Canada, across Africa, in Australia, New Zealand, I'll be working with Premier League Live this weekend, TalkSport's international team. I'll be doing live commentary for you with Fulham against Manchester City and also that circular firing squad of Monday Night Football as well. Subscribe, like, leave us a review, all that sort of stuff. We'll be back on Tuesday. I'm Tom Rennie, that is Brian Dunseth, and Tim Horsey sort of produced the show. Sorry, Tim.